the Porsche 987 Boxster is getting very affordable. Hi, it's Dave, and if you're looking for sports car reviews, how-tos, and ramblings while driving a Porsche, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and you'll be on your way. The second generation of the Porsche Boxster has been hit by depreciation. That's a great thing for someone that's looking to get into one on the used market. Because of this depreciation, now may be the time to buy. And here are 3 reasons why you should buy a 987 Boxster soon. Reason number 1, more powerful, naturally aspirated flat 6 engines. When compared to the 986 generation Boxster, the 987 generation has more powerful engines. The early 2.7s, which would be the 2005 model year, have 240 horsepower. To put that into perspective, the Boxster S that debuted in 2000 originally made 250 horsepower. So you're only 10 horsepower off of a Boxster S from the previous generation. For the earlier cars, the Boxster S will get you 280 horsepower. If you start looking at a 987.2, on the low end, you're looking at 255 horsepower, and at the high end, goes all the way up to 320 horsepower. Of course, the 987 is still a pretty light car, so it doesn't take a ton of power to make you feel like you're going very fast. And here's reason number 2, the headlights. People are not a big fan of the 986's headlights. The fried egg that originally had it, and then they did an update where it clear, but people don't like that shape. However, the 987 has a little bit closer to the traditional Porsche shape. They're not round, but they're a little closer to what you get in the 911, and definitely similar to what you get in a newer Boxster and a newer Cayman. And this styling just of the headlights changing does make it look like a little bit newer car. The 986 starts to look older because that is not the style of current Porsches. So if you get a 987, your car is going to look newer than it is, even though it's a number of years old at this point. Especially since Boxsters and Porsches in general, they don't change a lot. They're evolutionary. So because of that, if you take one of the early 987 Boxsters and you compare it to the latest 718 Boxster, you won't see a huge difference. I mean, people who know Porsches will know the difference, but the average person won't be able to really tell them apart except for maybe the side air intakes. And here's reason number 3, the interior. The 987 as opposed to the 986 has a more modern interior. Now, the center console, a lot of people don't like that. It gets a little cluttered looking, but overall, the look, the steering wheel, the dash, people prefer that. Most people prefer that. But overall, most people prefer the look of the 987's interior over the 986. Now, of course, the 981 that came after the 987, it looks even better. With the 987, besides just the interior looking newer, you do get some additional modern conveniences. Most will have an infotainment system, which isn't as common in a 986. And the later on you go into the 987's progression, the more of these modern conveniences you're going to have. You're going to have things like Bose sound systems, the door cards look a little bit more streamlined, just a lot of that kind of stuff. And the thing about a 987 is you can get it for hardly any money anymore. If you get an early 2005 Boxster with about 100,000 miles, so a little bit high on the mileage, you're paying under $15,000. I've seen a number of them for under $15,000. And if you go with the base model, you'd be right around the $10,000 mark. Now the 986, about 5-10 years ago, that's about what you would pay for a 986. So prices of the 987 have fallen. I think they're continuing to fall. They will continue to fall for a little while, just like we saw with the 986. Now the 986 is leveled and actually come up slightly. I think we will see the same eventually happen with the 987. And it may not dip quite as low as the 986 just because people like the headlights. But the great thing for someone shopping on the used market is that's a lot of car for the money. They're plenty quick. You can get in a lot of trouble in these things if you don't careful. And they're going to handle like nothing else on the road. And another thing to think of, the earlier cars pre-2009 are going to cost you less because there is the IMS bearing. That dreaded IMS bearing that keeps everyone away from this vintage of Boxster and Cayman and 911. The earliest cars have an internal IMS bearing that is very difficult. You have to disassemble the engine to replace. However, it is a little more robust than the IMS bearing that happened the last half of the 986 generation. 2009 and newer models, they got rid of the IMS bearing. You don't have to worry about that in those cars. Have to worry about other things, of course, but you don't have to worry about that. So because of that, a 2009 and newer, not only just because it's newer, will run you a little bit more money, but for some, it's worth it just for the peace of mind not having to worry about the IMS bearing. Of course, we couldn't have a talk about a used Porsche Boxster or a used Cayman or a used 911 without talk about the IMS bearing. It's a big topic that's overblown a bit because the percentage of cars that are affected aren't really huge. Having said that, if you're one of the people that get affected, yeah, it's a big deal. So what do you think? Would you go buy a used 987 Boxster? Get down in the comments, let us know your thoughts on the 987 Boxster. And would you go for the base model or the S? And now that you've made it to the end of this video, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. With every subscription, a donation will be made in your name to the Buy a Middle-Aged Man a Porsche 911 Fund. His name's David, and that car will be in my garage. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. I normally talk about how the thumbs down button is broken. Unfortunately, people are trying that out and maybe it might be fixed, and I'm a little worried about that. So hey, don't even try it, just thumbs up. If you want to click thumbs down, there are other videos on the internet that you could watch. And as always, thanks for watching. I look forward to getting down in the comments and talking to y'all. I read every single one of the comments and I try to get back to you as much as I can. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. What's up with prices of the Porsche 987 Boxster?